Parents who knock on their kids' doors and then immediately open it anyway. What's your thought process? Oh boy, I can't wait to leave the room without closing the door on my way out. I finally got the courage to call my mom out on that after 2 years of living on my own. My mom hits me with because me and your dad knew it bothered the shiz out of you. My dad does the next worst thing. He leaves the door wide open and walks away. I'm respecting your privacy by knocking but asserting my authority as your parent by coming in anyway. You're not supposed to be on those kinds of websites. These ones are much better. That's my teacher. There will never be a character as great as Timmy's dad in the entire future of television. I heard the show went downhill when they added a baby. Dog and Timmy's sister? I haven't seen the show in forever, so can't confirm. I blame Dinkelberg. Bonus points for just saying knock. Knock at the same moment as opening the door. This gives me anxiety. My mom taps her nails on the wood of the door as she opens it. Just thinking about the sound makes my hackles rise. John Mulaney, is that you? You have 2 seconds to put your dick away and close that incognito window. Fastest hand in the West. I had to move back in with my folks after splitting from my wife. My mom tried to pull that shiz on me. But I was smart and the door was always locked. So instead I would get, the door's locked. Yeah, no shiz. Why are you trying to barge in here? I could be naked with a hairbrush up my butt for all you know. Which end of the hairbrush? This definitely needs to be addressed. Please respond. I'm surprised you're the first person to mention locking their door. My folks would totally barge in if it wasn't for me locking the door. Even then they still wonder why I lock it. So many of the doors in my life had no locks. My sister and I had one room that came with a lock and my mom freaked out she's not so great and a mean drunk and broke the frame by banging the door open. I remember those days. Once I was home for the day. The clothes came off and I'd throw on a housecoat if I was venturing out of my room. I'd hear my mother approaching my bedroom door. She would call my name. And 2 seconds later, she would try the doorknob. It's locked. I haven't even had the chance to respond to her and she's already trying to open the door. When I get the chance to tell her just a second and position myself behind the door to crack it open. It goes something like this. Her, why's your door locked? Me. To stop you from barging in on me naked. Her, oh please. It's not like I'm just going to barge in. Me. If you weren't about to barge in. How did you know the door was locked? This was not a one-time incident. I'm in my 30s. My mom lets me know she decided to come over by pressing her face up to the windows. Sometimes from the backyard. I gave my in-laws a very stern warning when I gave them a key to my house. Quote, if you ever come over unannounced and just let yourself in, I will drop everything and strip naked to meet you at the front door to collect your key. My wife once invited her parents over to do something while she was out and didn't tell me. So they walk in on me. Later I have this conversation. Why didn't you tell me your parents were coming over? What? You were home. That's my point. What if I was dancing around naked to Barry Manilow? We don't even have any Barry Manilow. Fine. I was dancing naked to you too. Still a heads up would be nice. I warned my mother-in-law to not pop over unannounced. Not too long ago I was walking around nude. She pops over. Stood in all my naked glory. Looked her in the eyes and said, oh hello. Love. How are you? She laughed her head off and walked away. No more surprise visits. Also, why do they leave the door a little bit open when they finally leave? Why? A little bit? My mom just leaves it wide open all the time, making me walk those painful steps to the door from my bed. While fully erect. Yeah, and then my dog walks in on me wanking. I get the oh shiz better put it away thought. The relief. Oh, it's only me dog. I still feel really weird jerking off in front of pets. They just stare at me, confused. My dad used to do this all the time. Until one day I stopped him and told him, look, you're free to barge in whenever you want to. But someday you're gonna come in and I'll be dick in hand. He laughed. I laughed. He knocks and waits now. Hi dick in hand. I'm dad. One day. They are gonna find why we are always staring at our wallpaper. Because it's yellow? They have to free that poor woman trapped behind it. Rookie move. Always keep another browser window opens in the background. Yep, this man gets it. Shizzy memes are easier to explain than porn. Fastest alt tab in the West. That took me way too long to figure out you meant a computer's wallpaper. I seriously thought you were talking about actual wallpaper. I remember one time when I was 21 I had my girlfriend over and we were fucking. My mom knocked on the door. I responded that we're busy. She knocked again so I called out louder, "Mom. We are having sex." "Nope, not enough." She opens the door and sticks her head in. Sees that we are under the covers and then decides to waltz in, sit on the end of the bed and talk to us about some mundane shiz. All the while, I'm still inside my girlfriend. In a state of shock. Not exactly 100% relevant but was reminded of it and wanted to share. What do parents think while doing this? Okay. They're naked. Under the covers. And out of breath, whatever. I need to know when OP's getting a job. They're gonna frick under my roof while not having a fucking job? Oh hell no. This ain't no hotel. Not respecting boundaries, especially of a sexual nature, is considered a symptom of a personality disorder and abusive. I'm not going to say which one because I am not a psychologist. Lol. Can confirm. My mom doesn't even knock on my door. Just barges in whenever she wants and yells at me if I lock it. She has BPD. I knock on my daughter's doors and then if they don't answer or say hang on a minute or whatever I leave. My youngest daughter says I'm the only parent she's ever heard of who does this. She's been shopping around. Have you been seeing other moms? My kids said this too. And all of their friends. Most parents just don't believe in giving their kids privacy. One of my son's friends, when they were about 12, said your mom just doesn't come on in? And kept questioning him and me about it. He was really surprised. When his mom came to pick him up, that's the first thing he said to her and she glared at me. Lol. I mean, God, lady, they're in middle school. Why would you just barge on in? My mother-in-law popped the bedroom door open the first time I stayed at their house. I was 25 and he was 27, my now husband and I weren't even going to be sleeping in the same room. We were talking privately and she opened the door because she didn't want us having relations in her house. For frick's sake. Switch flipped after we got married. She gave us a gift bag that included condoms for our wedding night. What the frick? Woman. I've been with my GF for almost 10 years. We have lived together for 3 years. As the standard millennials, we are waiting until everything is perfect logistically, financially, etc. until we get married. We are at my parents for Christmas. You bet your ass my parents are making me share the couch with the dog until that wedding happens. The big kicker to it all is my mom is begging me for grandkids. Parents are weird. My mom did and still does that when I go back home to visit once a year. I'm 30 by the way. Talk, can I come in? Opens the door. Sometimes I'll open my eyes to her grabbing empty water bottles out of my room. Oh sorry, I thought you were sleeping. Yes, Pauline, I was sleeping until you decided to come in at 7 a.m. on my vacation time for no reason. The worst is that my grandma is nothing like that. Only her. No respect for privacy or sleep. We lived with my in-laws for a month while between apartments. My mill would always barge in to clean or just grab something from the closet. One night she swung the door open at 2 in the goddamn morning. Don't know why. I'm startled out of a deep sleep. Confused. And see a silhouette standing in my doorway. So naturally I start screaming at the top of my lungs in terror. That was the last time she did that. Haha. She could have walked in on a lot more confusing things than you screaming, of confusion. My mother won't even acknowledge that I was sleeping. I believe in her mind she has God-given authority as to what amount of sleep I'd be fully functional with. Start putting something heavy behind the door. I'm not there to hurt her feelings. I deal with it once a year. At her age, she's already set in her ways. I can deal with it, or if I get to the point where I can't take it, I'll get a hotel. It's her house after all and she lets me stay there for free. My mother-in-law does this. I live across town and she will just waltz in like she owns the place with no notice that she is even coming over. No knock or anything. My wife's sisters do this as well. I don't know what's wrong with this family. So instead of locking my door I just walk around naked. Either give me time to put clothes on or watch my flaccid penis dangle as I greet you. If she just walks in I assume she's fine with me being naked. My mom used to do that. If she knocked at all. So, at my house with my kid. I knock. I let the kid know what I'm doing. Hey kid, I have laundry for you. Or, hey kid, I need to talk to you. Then I wait for an okay. Only then do I open the door. If by chance I get up, not right now. Mom, I say, I'll be back in exactly 3 minutes. And that's what happens. Me too. Mostly because I don't want to see whatever is going on porn. Most likely. I knock. Tell them what I want like dinner is ready. Or I have your laundry. Etc. And then they respond. Usually without opening the door. I love my privacy and treat them as I want to be treated. Now I feel like I was an even bigger nerd. My parents did the same thing and usually when I would respond that I needed a minute. I was either in the middle of reading a book I was really into or playing an online multiplayer game. And before anyone calls BS. I saved my fapping for at night specifically so I wouldn't get interrupted. Parent here. Came to respond and realize I have nothing. Will rethink in the future. Thanks. I think because most of the time it's benign and uneventful. So this conditions shortening the waiting time for an answer and reduces the effort spent processing whatever the answer was. The knock just becomes courtesy of habit. But the parent is more preoccupied with whatever brought them to the door in the first place and is virtually blind to the possibility that something unseemly might be happening behind the closed door. This is absolutely the case. Whatever brought my mom upstairs was always the priority. And the knock was really just an announcement that I'm outside your door right now. And I'm going to come in. Which was typically fine. As I'd be aimlessly scrolling Reddit or AV Club or my fantasy football league. Very seldom was I seated cross-legged butt naked on my floor. Surrounded by candles and burning sage. Whispering passages of the Quran into my erect penis. But as a parent, you have to understand that you run that risk. That's not even always the point. Once your kid reaches a certain level of maturity and assuming they haven't given you a good reason to suspect they're doing something wrong. They deserve some basic privacy as well. And the knowledge that their space belongs to them within reasonable limitations. It doesn't matter if they're masturbating or reading the Bible. Respect their privacy and wait for an answer before entering.